Is there hope for the All-Star game after a decent All-Star game yesterday? We'll talk a little bit about that. Plus, we're going to start our series over the next few days with no Bulls games, talking about our post-All-Star break expectations for a number of Bulls players. We're going to get into all that and more on today's Locked On Bulls.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily Chicago Bulls podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thank you for tuning in to Locked On Bulls, member of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every single day. That's Pat, the designer, host, and creator of the Windy City Breeze, and host of the Chicago Bears podcast over at ESPN 1000. I'm Haize, host and creator of Chicago Bulls Central and Chicago Bears Central YouTube pages and podcasts. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Pat, we're going to start off with a non-Bulls topic for once. And the All-Star game was actually kind of fun.
Listen, the weekend sucked, but the game itself was incredibly entertaining.
That dunk contest?
Trash.
Bro.
Trash. Yeah, they replaced Mac McClung with Black McClung and from the Miami Heat. And I mean, he clearly was a knockoff.
Bro, I told you what. I think me and you both came up with this idea mutually. The thing to save the dunk contest, because NBA players don't care anymore. Get each NBA player to sponsor a dunker from around the world, your best street ball dunker, and then give them an opportunity. That would the dunk. Say what you will about Bulls Fest every year. The dunk contest is usually pretty exciting there because they get people who actually care about the art of dunking. That's what they need to do again.
Well, they don't even have the event anymore because AK is scared of people. But yeah, I mean, like
last year we took 1 year off, Pat. They had it just last year. What do you mean?
I forgot they did come back this year, didn't they? Yeah. Nobody went. But no, like to me, like I thought the weekend itself was god awful, but I thought the game was very entertaining, and you know we talked about it afterwards on the phone. Listen, bottom line, effort matters. Like that's all all the formats you could change, all the different things that you could do. Effort matters. And remember, a couple years ago, right, when probably more than a couple of years ago, maybe it was the Chicago All-Star game even, when there was that first format of getting to 21 points past whatever the top team was, whatever it was, right?
Yeah.
That format was fun that year. And then nobody cared the next year and it wasn't fun anymore. And so like it truly just goes to show you how much caring matters. I want to thank Victor Wembanyama. We may have a foreign face of the NBA coming up here soon because he's the only one that seems to want to buck this trend of nothing matters. Because even going into the game, all of the players were like, Anthony Edwards was like, it is what it is. We really not, I mean, we'll play, but ain't nobody going that hard. Like you weren't expecting it to be a game worth anything at all. And then it turned into this incredibly competitive back and forth between world stripes and stars. And I thought that it was a good format to have, but also just the fact that they went out there and gave effort on both ends. It looked like incredibly fun basketball.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, Pat. They have to find a way to get the new crop, like Anthony Edwards, the Shai Gilgeous-Alexanders, the Wembys, the Stephon Castles, that generation of players. They all have to care. Now, I will say this: I don't know how much you've gotten to watch of the guys that are coming up in this draft, the AJs, the Petersons, those guys. I feel like they are going to be a crop of young players that actually care about competition again.
Darren Peterson?
Yeah.
You feel like he cares about competition? He don't care about playing right now.
I think when you get in those lines, I do think he cares about competition. I do. I think right now he's afforded by college the opportunity to be like, hey, you want to take the rest of this off right now?
Bro, he playing halves of games, bro. I can't say that he cares about competition when he gets in those lines, bro. He played the first half versus AJ Divansta and then went, that's enough.
Well, that's because AJ was trying to kill that man. Now, AJ, you can't say
you
AJ
out here for the competition then. That's what I mean.
No. AJ, but AJ's different, bro. AJ's a different type of monster. All completely.
And Darren Peterson might be the number 1 overall pick. That's the worst part about all of it, bro.
If things go right now,
He's
Darren
so
Peterson's
good.
Overall pick for sure.
He's so good, but he could care less about competition. But outside of that, I would agree with you.
Yeah. Caleb Wilson is another one too. I think he's gonna care. Like, you just got to get these young guys to care, bro. If they start caring about actually, like, hey, I don't care that we're all stars. If you in front of me, I'm about to try. And it wasn't. I think too. Like, of course, back in the 90s, it was that full 48 minutes they were going at each other. You just got to get somebody that just cares in the second half of the game. Like that's the one.
Yeah,
of the
Muggs really didn't lock in until the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
When listen, Shaq was bringing the basketball up and playing around. Like I think when like, of course, KD and his burner account were offended when people were asking that this week and all of that going down. But, or I shouldn't say offended, but they were kind of just like, lashing out at what the All-Star game once was. And he's like, yeah, I don't see this fire that y'all saw. Kobe broke Dwayne Wade's nose in an All-Star game. Like, there was, in the fourth quarter when it got for real and Muggs had to legitimately play, there was an intensity and a level and an agreement, right? Hey, we're going to play around. We're going to get our points so that we can go to the table and say, hey, this is the money that I need to make because I was an All-Star and that's what I did versus the best of the best. And then there was, all right, in the fourth quarter, though, we finna lock up and we really finna see what's to you. Yeah. I just think that the bottom line is it all comes down to effort. I hope that this is a format that lasts and is something that is good for the future. I hope that this is something that keeps guys engaged. But even with the guys coming in, right, Anthony Edwards has nothing but dog in him. But if LeBron James isn't going to play hard or KD isn't going to play hard or now Anthony Edwards isn't going to play hard, then why would AJ Dybance and all of these guys who probably aren't going to get that much tick go nearly as hard? It's not going to be the young guys that are going to reset the generation. It's going to be the guys that are in the league that are going to reset the tone. That's why I thought it was hilarious that Wemby came out dunking on Muggs, because I think the second half of the season for him is about to be every team to see him about to be like, you made me play in the All-Star game. Now I'm about to try and go at you.
Yeah, no, but I mean, I think it has to be a mix of both. Like, yeah, you need the guys like Anthony Edwards, you need guys like Shea, you need the guys like Wemby, of course, to care, but you also need those new crop of young guys to also care too, because like that comes in and then it sets this tone. Like the young guys, they like, look, team youth is what made the All-Star game actually feel entertaining for the first time. So I think you need that with those young guys. So you need those young guys that just like, nah, I want an opportunity to come out and show Anthony Edwards I'm just as good as him. I think you need that as well.
And it only takes one. You know what I mean? Like that's really the bottom line of it. It took Wemby to do it for everybody to go, oh, we playing for real.
Yeah.
Like once you flip that switch, you can't unflip it for these guys. I think that's the funny part, right? It's why they don't go out there and just play around with random people, right? It's why you don't see them pull up to random pickup basketball games nearly as much, right? Because when that switch flips, it's hard to get them boys back out of that mode. And so once Wemby flipped the switch and was like, no, I'm playing for real and I'll embarrass y'all out here.
Yeah.
It was like, Ant was like, oh, hold on, we got to play for real. Like this might really come into play, right? Like, and look, by the end of it, the old dudes got old. That final game, right? Like you saw it and it was kind of exactly what you expected. The old guys went out there against the young bucks. They got old, they got tired. Was that a passing of the torch moment? Maybe. Yeah, I mean, hopefully it's one where we see this kind of continue. But I think what's funny about it is you're seeing what you saw out of Wemby and what you saw out of Ant and these guys is a reflection of what we saw from these guys during the season, where they actually care about the regular season. They actually care about going out there and putting on a show in front of the fans, right? They actually care about being the I don't think Ant wants to be a face of the league, but being not where it's just this business deal that's being done between you and the fans, but that you're actually getting the entertainment part of it between you and the fans. So I give them credit for going out there and playing the way that they did. I also love the fact that Ant was completely caught off guard that he won MVP.
I mean, they honestly, up until this season, they shouldn't have given no MVP for the All-Star game anyway. You can't name it MVP. Like it's just.
Didn't Kyrie win one? I couldn't tell you, bro. I couldn't tell you the history. Like I used to know every dunk contest winner by year. or 3-point contest winner by a year. I couldn't tell you who's won these events the last few years. Dame won off a bad Achilles, didn't he? Didn't Dame win this year?
Yeah, the 3-point contest. Yeah, he won. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying.
But technically, he's back on the court. Like the Achilles is just not ready for reportedly on court action. But it's weird. Well, that's going to be talked about for a long time. But with that said, we're going to start our post All-Star break expectations for players. We're going to start off with Josh Giddey right after this. If you ever, before we get into that, we got to talk to you guys about a message from FanDuel. If you ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person, FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into a reality with NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use Profit Boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for two. That's right. Flights, tickets, the whole experience. If you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock in. I love futures. This time of year. Whether it's picking a team to win the championship or grabbing a conference title, it adds the extra layer of excitement in every game down the stretch. And now, not only can you pick cash, but it also can send you to the NBA Finals. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your Profit Boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. More Locked On Bulls coming up next. Almost said Locked On NBA there. That's the show I've been hosting more times now because we took a couple of days off. Pat, All-Star break expectations. We're going to start it off with Josh Giddey, who has been out for a while. As you get into your thoughts, I got to step away. My kids are having a complete fight upstairs. I'll be right back.
Hey, throw them hands. Listen, expectations for the All-Star game, post-All-Star break. I'm sorry, for Josh Giddey, post-All-Star break. Mine are high. Now, this is dependent on if he's able to get back onto an NBA court, right? And if the Bulls are going to be looking to shut him down or not, we'll see. Still waiting to see, kind of where he's at coming back from injury. But bottom line with Josh Giddey, the level of basketball that we've seen him play this season has been beautiful. LeBron gave him praise for upping his game. The one knock on him was the 3-point shooting. Would love to see that continue to rise up. And now you've got an entirely new crop of teammates that you have to try and build chemistry with here on the fly, right? Like there isn't a ton of practice that Josh Giddey's getting in because of the injury. So you have to build this chemistry with your teammates while you're going through the motions. I think that's going to be incredibly an uphill battle in the second half of the season, and one that we don't even get to see him kind of try and build on prior to the All-Star break because of, that injury holding him out. So to me with Giddey, my expectation is for him to come in here and maybe organize a little bit, facilitate a ton, and really get the most and see what he can find in as far as a relationship with guys like Anthony Simons, with guys like Jaden Ivey, with all of the new faces that are here, and see who matches the mindset that we've seen Josh Giddey continue to have time and time again. That's the part about him that I do think, is very fitting for a player who wants to be a leader of this organization, a player who wants to be a fixture of this organization for years to come here, is the fact that his mindset is very much, hey, we got to go out here. We have to give it all that we have, or we're going to be in a really, really tough situation moving forward, right? We're going to be in a position that at the end of the day, I'm not going to have that running mate with me. I'm not going to have that person out of all of these moves that I've made that I've been able to build the chemistry with. So I think, to me, when I look at Giddey and my expectations for him in the second half of the season, it's just the organization of it, building the team that you currently have up, and finding the pieces that are going to be here for the long term. I think that's going to be an uphill battle for Josh no matter what, unfortunately, because of the fact that I said it before, this isn't really a team that you have here. You've got so many point guards on this team. You've got some good scorers. You've got guys that do things well, but are you really going to see anything serious out of them? I don't know if you are. Bottom line, because you can't play 4 point guards on a court at the same time and think, you're going to go out there and find ways to win NBA basketball games. It's not realistic. So, to me, I think relationships that can be built. What's he going to look like with Gershon Yabusele? What's he going to look like with Nick Richards? Two guys that are going to be, possible bigs moving forward for the team, just as far as being in the lineup. I think Nick Richards could greatly benefit from playing with a player like Josh Giddey, and that he could be really good in a pick and roll action with Josh Giddey. Maybe he fixes some of the the stumbling and bumbling that we see at times out of Nick Richards. On the flip side of that, I look at a guy like Gershon Yabusele, kind of fits that role of what you've hoped Jalen Smith was going to be as far as consistency from the 3-point line. How does Josh Giddey create for him? Can he convince him to stick around here longer than maybe he would have, right? Or is that somebody that you even want sticking around? Bottom line, though, for me with Giddey is if this team is going to figure it out, and I'm talking about, not this season's a wash, but if this team is going to truly find out, okay, what are these guys in this system? You're going to have to do that with Giddey on the court, which is tough because realistically speaking, you put this collection of bodies together so that you could lose games, or at least that's what it seemed like going into the All-Star break. Now, nobody knows, right? When it comes to the Bulls, I could sit here and tell you that, the main goal of this team is to go out there and lose as many games as possible and to try to get as high as they can in the lottery in a draft that looks like it's going to be phenomenal with Cam Boozer and with AJ Nabinska and with Darren Peterson, even though he doesn't play a whole heck of a lot, right? Like all of these names that we look at where we say this is going to be very effective for the long run of the Chicago Bulls if they lose as many games. I can't sit here and tell you that that's their plan because I've seen Bobby Portis ruin that plan when it was a great draft for them to go out there and grab a Luka Doncic. I've seen Nico Mirotic go out there and ruin those plans. I've seen Larry Markkinen go out there and ruin those plans. And yes, those were under different regimes, but I think the mindset has continued to be the same with the Chicago Bulls. It's not an organization that looks to tank. It is not an organization that looks to bottom out. And while I do think that there is a conversation to be had on that, I think Josh Giddey gives you a lot of opportunity to go out there and win games. Like, I'm not saying that it's going to be great. I'm not saying that you're going to win 20 games in the second half of the season. But do I think that the Bulls could win more games that put them out of the position to actually be a top 8 team in this NBA draft? I think that's very possible for this Bulls team. And so hopefully this is one where the Chicago Bulls are able to find some answers while still finding a way to drop some of these games, right? There is no future for you, especially in the playoffs with the collection of guys that you have on this team. And a fun run is not worth the future of this team anymore. To me, it's just not. I would like to find names that make sense. I think Jaden Ivey would be an interesting name. I don't want to say a great name, right? Because I haven't seen him play great off ball as of yet. Right now, he has started to look a little bit better as a catch and shoot type of player, and maybe that's the kind of player that he's going to have to become. And that's why you went out and got him. You start to see some of those catch and shoot numbers, especially when he's stationary. How good of a shooter that he can be. You start to feel really good about that, but outside of that, it just doesn't look like he has the confidence in that leg and where that's going to be. And maybe that never comes back. Listen, for Sean Livingston, it never came back. He still turned himself into a heck of a player that helped multiple championship teams moving forward. So there is always that conversation to be had on that. I think you also could look at, a guy like Anthony Simons and how he's been able to be a real spark off of the bench and just the volume of shots that he gets up. Me and Haize have talked about it, right? Like, that is something we have not seen on this team, arguably since Ben Gordon was a part of this team. You haven't seen a player that's just efficient, but just saying, listen, the ball's going up. We're going to get a volume of shots out here. We're going to play, on both ends, but really offensively is where I'm going to make my bread and butter. I don't know if you can even keep a guy like Anthony Simons around with him being an unrestricted free agent. He's probably going to want to go compete for more of a competitor, but if you could find a spark like that off of your bench to replace Ayo Dosunmu, who probably is going to go up to Minnesota and win a lot more basketball games, I think it's going to be, interesting to see how the Bulls manage the offseason. But you got to figure out what this guy is going to be first before any of that even ends up happening. Oh, just took me clean off the screen. F this guy. That's what it turned out to be. Can't even hear you, bro. Can't even hear you.
It was enough yellowness on the screen. We had to add a little actual melanin into the screen. So
is that what that is? We are the same amount. Just because you got more chocolate does not mean that we are not 50-50 in this.
That's not melanin. I said more melanin.
Only one of our fathers has gone viral for being white.
That's because you really don't post your dad.
That is true. I don't know. Well, we're not a real picture-taking family, honestly.
But real quick, I know we got to wrap up this segment. I had to go be a father real quick. My expectations for Josh Giddey, if and when he does get back on the court the rest of the way, is just simple. Like, I want to see Josh Giddey run this. Like, you now have less players that are going to demand the ball from you. Anthony Simon's really good off-ball player. Nick Richards, Gershon Yabusele, like, these are players that can definitely play off you. When Josh Giddey is in the game, whenever he does get back in, I just really want to see how he makes the players better around him, because as we go forward into the offseason where a lot of this roster could turn over yet again, I think that Josh's ability to make players better is going to be a big part in how we can build this team going forward.
Yeah, that's pretty much everything I said. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what ends up happening with the second half of this season, whether the Bulls will actually tank or not, because we've thought that we've been in a tank multiple times, and that tank was ruined by a hot February going into March. We'll see what ends up happening here. We got to talk about Matas Buzelis after the All-Star break and what we expect out of him. But first, got to talk to you guys about a word from our sponsors over at FanDuel and Indeed. Wrong one.
That happened.
What's happening right now? The Winter Games are officially here, and if you're anything like us, you're locking in for the events. You're locking in for events you only get to see on the biggest stage every 4 years. That's right, curling, ladies and gentlemen. We got a curling fiasco, a little controversy, if you will, as you got a little pushing of the rock after letting it go. Apparently, that's a no-no in curling. I don't know any of the rules. And that's why following the Winter Games on FanDuel just makes sense. From medal counts to individual events and finding your angle on the sports you care most about, FanDuel gives you more ways to stay connected to the action. The Winter Games are on, and there's no better way for you to follow them than with FanDuel. FanDuel, play your game. We also got to tell you guys all about Indeed. Hiring isn't just about finding someone willing to take the job. It's about finding the right person with the right background who actually can help your business move forward. And if you want candidates who match what you're looking for, Indeed sponsored jobs is the move, because Indeed, instead of hoping the right person stumbles across your post, Indeed helps you match with quality candidates by boosting your job listings to the people who fit your specific criteria, life skills, certifications, location, etc. And here's the stat that says it all. In the minute that I've been talking to you guys, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching, more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. With Indeed sponsored job, listeners of the show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help your job get the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring, do it the right way with Indeed. More Locked On Bulls coming up next. Did you mute your mic again?
What the hell is happening? All right, before we get up out of here, last player that we got to talk about All-Star break on this episode is Matas Buzelis. What are your post-All-Star expectations for Matas Buzelis?
There's nobody in your way. I want to see one more leap. I want to see one more step in the right direction. I've given up on the defensive hope, although Billy Donovan keeps benching him, so maybe Billy Donovan hasn't. But I've given up on the defensive hope for this season. Doesn't mean it can never happen. But defensively, the step that you thought he was going to take, he hasn't. He's been really good as far as a shot blocker, as far as an on-ball defender. He's cooked. But offensively, Matas has been really good. And I mean, it truly is put up or shut up time, because there's no reason that you shouldn't be getting the lion's share of the looks at this point. Don't Patrick Williams this. Don't sit there and say, we gotta let everybody get involved, and we got to make sure that we're playing the best version of the team. You don't have a team right now. Go out there and ball out. Be aggressive. Get to the rim. But play the game. Again, it's not about taking 25 shots. It's about being efficient with the 15 that you're probably going to get, and creating 5 of those yourself off of offensive rebounds, off of pushing the bucket from or pushing the ball off of defensive rebounds. Like, I think there's a ton of opportunity. You've seen Matas get more of it. It's been very up and down. Would love to see some consistency over the second half of the season and comfort in Matas Buzelis in the second half of the season. But I just want to see that one more step offensively to finish out this year. He's at what? 15 or so points a game right now. Finish out the season around about 18 to 20.
Yeah.
Let's live around that. And I'd feel like, you've got a really good player heading into year 3. He's been about 15 points a game, 5 rebounds, 2 assists this year, shooting about 47% from the field. Give me 3 to 5 more points a game, and you feel really good heading into year 3 of Matas Buzelis.
Yeah, I mean, I think for this, like you said, the finish, it just got to be a strong finish, and it's not even to me about stats. I would just want to see an aggression level for Matas and an opportunity for Matas where he's like, no, let me take the most shots, let me do this, let me try to take this players off the dribble. Now, I do think some of that's been killed a little bit by Billy Donovan pulling him at times when he's actually cooking, but that's what I want to see from Matas. The points are the points. Like, I'd rather see him take some opportunities and fail, because we know from Matas, he's somebody that responds very well to failing. He bounces back really well from that. So even if he tries to take 17 shots per game, and let's say he is a little bit inefficient and maybe still averages around 16 or 17, I think it's good to see him being willing to take that aggression and learning from those moments, and having the defense adjust him, and seeing how he builds off of that in the offseason.
And realistically speaking, because of his game, right? Like, it's not about pulling threes. It's not about, I think you really do have a player that can kind of get to a shot whenever he wants. Even when you saw him in the Rising Stars Challenge, right? That little back to the basket, turn around, up and under scoop. Beautiful shot. Run that, right? It's not, I want to see you taking 15 more corner threes. It is, when you get the ball in your hands, try to get where you're comfortable at. Right now, where you're comfortable at is in the paint. Oh, by the way, when you take off, people get out of the way because they understand that you will put them on a poster. Yeah, I think, he's got he's got a little bit of everything, but he's not great at anything just yet. Try and get great in that mid-range to in the paint area, where I think that could be a dangerous weapon for him finishing out this season.
Yeah. We'll see. I have high hopes for the finish for Matas Buzelis. He's one that we do know at least is going to be on the court. We'll see what happens with him. I want to see him get a little bit more point forward opportunities, especially while Josh and Trey are out, and we have basically just shooting guards operating the point guard role. And I guess we'll see.
Hey, don't go too crazy though. Yeah. Don't give us a Bobby Portis mid-month.
We'll see.
Don't give us a don't go too crazy. We'll see. Don't need to be winning.
I know you got to get up out of here, Pat. Anything left before you get up out of here, brother?
Nah, man, follow us on everything at Locked On Bulls. You can follow me on everything at Pat the Designer. Appreciate y'all for tuning in to show love.
All right, you guys can follow me at CEO Haize. Locked On Bulls is free and available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube, the Odyssey app, Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV, and Fubo TV. Basically, anywhere you want us, you can get it. We'll catch you guys bright and early tomorrow morning, y'all. Peace.
Peace.